Thousands of students are preparing for a new term at university, but for many, both finding and affording a place to stay could be every bit as challenging as their studies. An average increase in rents of around 30%, coupled with the cost of living crisis, is putting pressure on already stretched finances. Well, Oliver Wright is at Aberdeen University for us this evening. Oliver, money's always tight when you're a student, but this year really is proving more difficult for many.
Well, yes, Andrea, and in a few weeks' time, this university will look a lot busier than it does just now, and that's because students will be returning from their summer break. But they'll be doing that against a backdrop of high inflation, high interest rates, and a turbulent rental market. And that means the tight budgets that students usually have will be made even tighter, and the rental market is just so much harder to get a flat. And that means that students say they're going to have to do things like sleep on friends' couches just to start their studies on time.
New year, new digs. It's the routine for students across the country. But getting your hands on the keys to accommodation is getting harder and harder. Rising rents and a lack of rental properties mean students are struggling to get somewhere to stay. Students like Nirvan.
A lot of the landlords here in Aberdeen look for UK guarantors, and personally I didn't have one when I first moved out of my student accommodation. I was trying to find a regular flat, so that ultimately put me in a very disadvantaged position. I think there were times where I actually thought I might have to sleep on my friends' couches if I can't find a place to stay, because of the amount of, the shortages of the housings and the options and cost of living crisis and all of that coming together.
He's not alone. Here at the University of Aberdeen, the Students' Association says it's been inundated with people trying to find somewhere to live.
Students have been facing this for years, but because of the increase in the cost of living crisis, I think it's been increasingly difficult to even sustain within meager salaries of like part-time jobs, and because of low access to part-time jobs nowadays, it's just become difficult for students to even carry forward in their lives or plan their life as student as they would like to.
The cost of living crisis continues to slim down student budgets. According to research from the Royal Bank of Scotland, the average supermarket spend is up 44%. Rents increased by 30% on average, and nearly half of students say they run out of money before the end of term.
We're seeing really horrendous rates actually of student poverty. We found that over half of students have skipped meals because of the rising costs in the past year. We found that 12% of students have been homeless at some point during their studies. 12%, that is a horrifying statistic.
Thousands of students return to Scotland's universities in just a few weeks. Many have no idea how they'll fund it or where they'll live. Oliver Wright, STV News.